So we're back at it again talking about Funko Pop. Back in July, we covered this stuff, and we got to see more or less two of the Funko Pops that were originally leaked and listed to us. We were told we were going to be getting a Funko Pop vinyl Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Megatron, Soundwave, and Jazz, as well as the Funko Minis, which are the little keychain versions of the larger ones of Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and Megatron. Couple weeks after that, we finally got to see at one of these like Funko online convention thingies, we got to see Optimus and Bumblebee with their bug-eye nature, and people were like, okay. And that was that. So now we have a full all-out release. We know now how everything looks, how the box art looks, as well as store exclusives. And store exclusives are very important to talk about here, because when we get into Transformer Finance, oh boy, Funko Pop is a whole other animal to begin with. I'll get into that in a moment. So we have the Optimus and the Bumblebee. We know how those look now. But now let's talk about Jazz, Megatron, and Soundwave. So Megatron, it is what it is. It's Megatron. Has the show accurate head, has those beady Funko Pop eyes in red, and that was that. I like Jazz. Jazz looks really good, but Jazz, what's also interesting is, and it's the same thing with Soundwave, because they have the visor, it just kind of works better. It doesn't have the Funko Pop eyes, so the head sculpt looks nice. And it's funny because both the Jazz and the Soundwave, I almost feel like their heads are just, they took the old G1 toy and they blew it up and just kind of put it on top of the Funko Pop body. But Jazz looks nice. I dig him a lot. He looks really good. And again, it is what it is. It's a Funko Pop. It's not going to be articulated, but it's kind of nice. Again, they decided to go with the wings on the back, the little Porsche doors on the side, so it's more of a toy-accurate one rather than a show-accurate one, instead of using the Flair-O'Deary kind of design, which is, it's weird how these Funko Pops are kind of borrowing between two elements. Because you'll look at like Prime, right? And Prime, it's like blue eyes, truck body, everything's more or less show and kind of toy design, except for the toy would have had yellow eyes. But then when you look at Megatron, it's clearly a show kind of face and design and everything, and same thing with the body, but still using little elements from the original toy in certain colorations. And then when you get to Soundwave here, Soundwave uses the yellow visor found exclusively on the toy, and instead of using a red visor, which was how he was colored in the show. And again, that head sculpt, which is just pretty much taking the original 1984 Soundwave toy and just blowing up that head sculpt and placing it here. Again, the box art uses that old, back of the box. I think it was Mark Watts that did the back of the box art and everything from the 1984 original back of the box design. So it's kind of present here in small little pieces and cropped out into these of the Funko Pop retro toys. It's the Hasbro retro toy sub-series of these. And again, I like it. They look good. Again, the Soundwave and the Jazz, more than the others thus far, look really good. But I think it's more just because of those toy elements that are more present from the original toys and a little less of the softness that's seen with Funko Pops. Now let's get into the exclusives here. This is where things get interesting, because this is where, if you're going to be a completist of these guys, you're going to have issues. Because Funko Pops, when they have store exclusives or secondary market store exclusives, they go up in insane value. And if you think the scalping market of Transformers is crazy, you don't know the scalping market of the Funko Pop world. And when you're going to have the scalpers of Transformers and the already pre-existing scalpers of the Funko Pop world colliding, it's going to get nuts. And so then let's talk about these three exclusives, and more specifically one that I think is going to be bananas in value. But we'll start with first the very first store exclusive, which is going to be that of the Amazon exclusive, a metallic G1 Optimus Prime. Probably the weakest of the three, will be probably the easiest of the three to get, and will probably have the least of a secondary market increase. Then we go to the GameStop exclusive, which will probably be an EB Games exclusive here in Canada, of a battle damage Soundwave. And I look at this and I just go, you know what, it's Siege Soundwave, because it also has that kind of Siege kind of battle damage on it. What I find fascinating about this, and I'm hoping maybe it's just a case of just these CG mock-ups, I'm surprised at the repaint of the battle damage Soundwave didn't bother to go with, let's say, you know, well, since the original has the yellow visor, why not give this one the red visor? It'll also give it more of an incentive for people to want to buy this one because it has the more show-accurate head sculpt, even though the body is the battle damage one. That's one way to look at it. And the one that's going to be worth the most, the craziest one of them all, is the FunkoShop.com exclusive Jetfire. Now, this one is extra layers of crazy. Number one, because unlike the other two, this one is a unique sculpt. It's not just a repaint of the previous existing 5 Funko Pops that we've been shown here. And it's not even a repaint of a previously existing Funko Pop, because we all know Jetfire, based on over here from what we're seeing, there's so many layers to really pick apart here, because this Jetfire specifically is using the original 1985 Jetfire design, which is a Macross design, which has problems being released here because of Robotech and Harmony Gold. So the fact that they're able to do a Jetfire in this design is also remarkable in a lot of ways, considering that the Robotech license, toy license right now, is with a company called Toynami, and Funko has nothing to do with Robotech right now and Harmony Gold. So very interesting how this is even able to exist, combined with the fact that it's not a, like, you know, because there is no Funko Pops previously existing of the VF1S Valkyrie Macross kind of thing. They had to literally sculpt this from scratch to do this for Jetfire. Now, granted, maybe this is a sign of things. Maybe they did this, and they pretty much set the Harmony Gold. Like, they probably have some stuff going on behind the scenes where it's like, maybe they're going to be doing Harmony Gold Robotech Funko Pops in the future. And the very first sign of this existing is, look, here's this Macross one used for Transformers. And they probably made some deal with Harmony Gold. They probably said, hey, Harmony Gold, you know, we're Funko Pop. Like, we could tell you what to do, so we're going to take this mold and we're going to do our Transformer thing, and then we're going to do your stuff, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And Harmony Gold probably agreed. That's just my long-winded explanation for how this is actually existing, because we know that Hasbro in the past has had tons of issues with Harmony Gold and them fighting back and forth about the designs and stuff. And ultimately, in the end, look at our Commander Jetfire that we have today. Looks more like the show model, less like the old Valkyrie. So in the end, we kind of know how that turned out. But that being said, going back to what I was saying, this is going to be the one that's going to be difficult to get. I suggest if you get one Funko Pop out of all of these, get that Jetfire, because that's going to be the one that's going to be super tough to get later and is going to be really expensive just because of its limitedness and its weirdness. And who knows, maybe if the whole story that I just weaved right now, that maybe we are getting Robotech ones later and this is an early sign of that, if this is literally something that Funko Pop did on their own without Harmony Gold's blessing, I get a feeling this thing might get even pulled. Who knows? Like, this is crazy. But yeah, it is what it is. This is what we got thus far. And of course, we also got to see the Funko Pop minis, which, you know, again, like I said last segment, no surprise, it's just smaller versions of the larger ones. If you want an entire history lesson of Funko and Transformers and previous releases that they have done in the past between these two companies, I'll link in the comments below. I did a segment a while back talking about the history of Funko and Transformers. I think I did it also like around the same time that this was all announced in July. But yeah, just give it a listen too, because it'll give you an idea of what has existed before. They did Age of Extinction ones and stuff, and what might come for the future. As we can see right now, it looks already, look, we have 3 store exclusives that are, well, 2 of them that are repaints, but it also shows the potential for the future of what they want to do. Again, you could do an Ultra Magnus repaint, an Nemesis repaint with Optimus. You could do, you know, a Sound Blaster repaint with Soundwave. Jazz, I don't know. I don't think they're going to go the Art Fire route. That'd be a little heavy-handed, and the same thing with a Megaplex from Megatron. And Bumblebee, I mean, if you'd want to do an original Cliff Jumper mold. You wouldn't want to just do a red repaint, and I don't know, maybe if they want to do Glyph from Bumblebee, but again, that's also kind of obscure. But I mean, the second we get that Starscream, you know we're getting a sea of Seeker Jets. Maybe Sunstorm's going to be an exclusive or something, who knows. But this is crazy stuff. Let me know what you think. Are you interested in these? I mean, me personally, this isn't really my thing, personally. I mean, if they did like a hot rod, which I don't even expect that to happen anytime soon, but if they did a hot rod, that might get my attention. I'm kind of looking at that Jetfire only from an insurance kind of standpoint, meaning like if I ever do down the line want to start collecting these, I get a feeling that that would be the most difficult to get if I decide to do this later in the game, where I'm not too worried about the others. The others, I feel, I see Funko Pops all the time at conventions, and they are what they are. And again, like when you even go into price, I mean, these are planned for December 2020. That's like their release date. So just before Christmas, nice Christmas present. Their pre-order at $10.99. We don't have the prices for the store exclusives, but they're probably going to be in a similar kind of ballpark range. But like I said, if you're going to pick up one, it's pretty obvious which one to pick up. So let me know what you think about these. Are you excited? Who would you like to see turned into a Funko Pop? I mean, again, I'd like Hot Rod, but at the same time, from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense to do it because you still don't got those Seeker Jets. Where's Grimlock? Where's Devastator? You need those top-tier characters first to move Funko Pops before you get into the more second-tier guys. But let me know what you think. Who would you like to see, and who would you like to buy?